The Mobile Malaria Project was a 7,500 kilometre journey taking the very latest portable genetic sequencing technology into the field to sequence DNA from mosquitoes so that we can understand how genetics might be used in the fight against malaria. Because genetic data can tell us about which insecticides mosquito populations are resistant to, it holds great promise as a tool that can be used to gain insights into the spatial distribution of insecticide resistance. We're here at Jaguar Land Rover Special Vehicle Operations to finally see the car that will take us on our trip across Africa.
We've added a few extra features in here, so you've got a Thuraya sat phone on there. In the centre cubby box down here, you've got an iPhone charging dock. So at the back there, you've got the 240 volt feed from the inverter. Fitted the car with Goodyear Wrangler tyres. You've got two awnings that come out.
Actually seeing it in the flesh has really nailed down the incredible opportunity we have to use this car to help us do our work.
This, guys, is the rock crawl. We're going to get you to an exercise where you're going to guide each other.
You missed the boulder bit. You back up a little bit.
Nice one, George.
Once we'd seen the vehicle, we headed over to Ezra to learn what to do to get the most out of the discovery while we were away.
Jason's got this real drive for scientific excellence. I mean, he's got the lab stuff running from scratch in the last 3 months or so, and I think his perfectionism is really what's enabled the science of this trip to be as valuable as it is.
Science is one of those things that some days it works and some days it just doesn't. And after preparing for the trip for months and driving everything out there, there was a bit of worry that it wouldn't come out.
So the journey started in Walvish Bay on the coast of Namibia, and from there we travelled to Windhoek. The first part of the journey we went through sand into sort of more rocky desert and eventually into savannah. So this is the first morning of the Mobile Malaria Project, and we are travelling about 400 kilometres to Windhoek. So that should take most of the morning, and once we're there we're going to go to the University of Namibia. So we're the Mobile Malaria Project. Jason and I are geneticists, Isaac is a medical doctor, and what we have in the back of our car is a portable genetic sequencing lab. So in Namibia we met a group of Professor Davis Mumbungegwe. It was really great to see how portable genetic sequencing machines might be able to help them do their research. From Namibia we moved to Zambia, and there we started to try and use the mobile lab in lower resource settings. And we also managed to run the genetic sequencing machine for the first time in the back of the car while we were driving along.
Meanwhile, in the back of the car,
Nanopore sequencing. So the first time we sequenced in the car, it was in Ndola, and we drove from Ndola towards the Tanzanian border, basically with the sequencer running, and we were sequencing malaria parasites there.
So our plan then was to go to Tanzania, so we drove up through the north of Zambia and ended up getting to Kisumu in western Kenya about 5 days after we first arrived in Tanzania. The plan there was to try and sequence mosquito DNA with colleagues at the Centre for Global Health Research. So we spent a couple of days preparing our mobile lab in their laboratories with Dr. Erica Chomo, and then travelled to the border of Uganda, a place called Bursary, and a small village outside.
We woke up early that morning and drove to a village where we collected mosquitoes. And then some students from Eric's group, assisted by me, did the whole library preparation, so extracting DNA and preparing that DNA to run in the sequencer. And it was just a privilege to get to work with them and to get to try and teach them something new, and also to learn a lot from them about details of malaria biology and transmission.
There are some incredibly talented African scientists doing really important work across Africa, but they don't have the same exposure and opportunity to use the very latest technologies as we do in the UK. So being able to share our knowledge of these new technologies and to understand in much more detail how they could be used by African scientists in the field was a really important takeaway for me. trip wouldn't have been possible without the support of the Royal Geographical Society and Land Rover, a truly once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. By fitting enough people and equipment to sequence DNA into a single vehicle, our project shows the potential of mobile genetic sequencing to be used as part of future efforts to monitor and map malaria.